Okay, so it's been 3 years since I made a video on this channel, but I just read this book and I have some thoughts and emotions and I must discuss them. So here I am. Hi guys, welcome to Fandom Newbie. My name is Shruti and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review of The Immortals of Meluha by Amish Tripathi. So now I know this book is extremely famous, so a lot of you might have already read it. But for those of you who haven't, the premise of this book is basically that it's a story that is set in ancient India during the time of the Indus Valley civilization. During that time, in the world of this book, India is divided into two empires: the Meluhan Empire, which is ruled by the Suryavanshis, and the Swadeepan Empire, which is ruled by the Chandravanshis. And of course, the Suryavanshis and the Chandravanshis don't get along. They're like constantly warring with each other. And the Suryavanshis believe that the only way that they can rid the world of the evil Chandravanshis is with the help of a savior who they call the Nilkant. Enter Lord Shiva, who might just be that savior. So then basically the story evolves as Lord Shiva and a bunch of other characters go on these adventures as Lord Shiva is trying to live up to this legend. So actually the story is quite simple, but there were still a couple of things that I really liked about this book. So let's jump into them now. Number one, the world building. The details in which Amish Tripathi has gone to establish like the rules and history of this land that he's created in his books is very, very interesting. He's very diligent in explaining why certain things happen within the kingdom. He's also like gone into extreme details about like the different cities that we visit in the book. Like he meticulously describes each city, like the roads, the way the city is built, how it's governed, the people. Like he's described them in such detail that it was really very interesting to read, and it was so nice to see that he's not been superficial about those parts of the book. The second thing that I loved about this book is the story. So now, like I said in the beginning, the story is actually quite simple. It's quite a simple plot, so to speak. But the way Amish Tripathi has crafted it, it gets you hooked. And I'm not saying that this book doesn't have flaws. This book definitely has some flaws, which I will get to in a bit. But at least with the story, you're kind of left with some amount of intrigue. You're left with some amount of mystery that you want to know more that happens. You want to know why a certain character is behaving in this certain way. You want to know like more about the history of these characters. And you also want to know why certain things, I don't want to go into spoilers, that's why I'm being very vague. But like, you want to know why certain things are happening within the book. And I think that was really interesting. Like, I really enjoyed the pacing of this book also. Like, it was slow and detailed when it had to be, and it was also very fast paced and action packed when it had to be. So you're not really left feeling bored when you're reading this book. So yeah, those were pretty much the things that I actually liked about the book. So now let me come to some of the things that I didn't like. Number one is the character development. Now, the character development was honestly quite weak in this book. Like, it seemed the only way we knew that a certain character was good at something or bad at something was because another character was either like showering praises for this character or was like cursing this character in some way. For example, there's a character in this book named Sati. And a lot of people praise her in this book. Like, they call her brave and they call her noble and they call her kind. And there are times when these characters call her these things without the author even ever showing us any of her bravery or her kindness or her nobility. And yes, later on we see one or two instances where yeah, she was brave and yes, she was kind, but like throughout the book, when everyone is like glorifying her and showering her with so much praise, it's like, does she even deserve it? Like, what has she done? What have you as an author showed us that makes us believe that yes, she is all these adjectives that you are calling her? Like, that was actually quite frustrating for me to read. It's just like, no, don't just tell me that she is all these things. Like, show me, develop her character a little bit. Like, make her do things that make the reader feel that yes, yes, this character is really brave, or yes, this character is really evil. Like, without you showing these examples or scenes or parts of the book where you describe that, it just feels very superficial when you call certain characters certain things. The next thing that I didn't really like about this book was the relationships in it. And I think this also kind of links back to character development. And when I say relationships, I don't just mean like the romantic relationships in the book. I mean all the relationships, like the relationships built out of like trust or friendship, even relationships between like soldiers and stuff. Like all the relationships in this book, I feel, are very poorly developed. The author doesn't really give time to any of these relationships to develop properly such that it feels believable. Like, for example, there was, let's say, a character A in this book, right? And throughout the book, his feelings towards a character B has been of like skepticism. So he's very skeptical about this character B. And the whole book, he's like skeptical. That's it. That's the only sort of emotion or relationship they have. Oops. Emotion or relationship that they have. So, but then this character B does this one thing, okay? He just does this one thing, and now suddenly character A is like in love with him and he's like devoted to him. And I'm just like, huh? What happened to all your skepticism? What happened to all like those other emotions that you had towards him that changes like overnight? Like, that doesn't happen in real life. I mean, in this book, I feel like there's no gray area. It's either black or white. It's either love or hate. It's either like skepticism or devotion. Like, there's no in between. And that just doesn't make anything believable for me in this book. And the last thing that was a little bit frustrating while reading this book was the repetitive writing. Like, seriously, guys, if I had $1 for every time someone burst out laughing in this book, okay, maybe I won't be like rich, but I'd have a fair amount of money in my pocket. Because seriously, the amount of times the phrase burst out laughing has been used in this book was like frustrating towards the end. And honestly, the places where the characters were bursting out into laughter, like the joke that was said before that was not even funny. Like, seriously, they were extremely unfunny, like dad jokes. And still every character was just like, ha 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 ha. Or at least that's how I imagined it in my head. But seriously, like, I should have counted. I should have actually counted the amount of times people burst out into laughter. Like, that was a missed opportunity. Like, I should have seriously counted. So I could have had a number here in this video as to like the number of times someone did that act. But yeah, I think still, despite all that I just said right now, overall, The Immortals of Meluha was quite an enjoyable read. Like, I think the thing that happened for me in this book was that I've read so many like rave reviews about this book. I've heard so many people say it's like the best book they've read. And I guess I went into it with a lot of expectations. So then I was kind of left underwhelmed at the end of it. But still, like I said, the story was really good. It was quite gripping. And it's still quite an enjoyable book to read. So I will definitely be picking up The Secret of the Nagas and The Oath of the Vayuputras, because I still want to know what happens to these characters and I still want to know what happens more in this world. So yeah, I'm excited to pick those up. So yeah, that was my review. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comments what you guys thought about this book, because I'd love to have more discussions with you guys down in the comments. And of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I'll be trying to make some more book related videos for you guys. That's it for now. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.